when I use the word could, I use the word should, I use the word might, I use the word possibly. Those are what we call wishy-washy words. Wishy-washy words. Because they sound like something, but they really don't mean something. Like, for example, we also say that there's many ways to say no. There's only a few ways to say yes, but there's many ways to say no. So say, for example, you have a coworker that's having a party at their house, and you really don't like this coworker. And the last thing in the world you could imagine is spending one more second than you need to with that person, God forbid. And they come to you, right, at the beginning of the week and say, hey, listen, I'm having a party on Friday. I'd love for you to come. Now, in the back of your mind, you know there's no way on God's green earth that you're going to show up there. But you're not going to say that to him. Why? Because politically in the office environment, you're not going to say, geez, Bob, you know what? I think you're an idiot. I would rather put a spike through my hand than to spend 1 second with you more than I absolutely have to. Now, that might be the truth, but you're never going to say that. What might you say? I don't know. Let me check my schedule. I'll check with my wife. I don't know. We'll try to make it. Maybe we could stop by, right? I'll see what we can do. We could possibly come by. Wishy-washy words fall into those categories because there's lots of ways to say no. There's very few ways to say yes, right? The only way to say yes is yes. And yet in sales, we're faced with that all the time. We hear things like, you know what, let me think about it. And when somebody says, let me think about it, what do most salespeople think in the back of their mind? Ooh, they're thinking about it. And I'd say, you know what, Bob, that's great. Can you share with me what your thought process is? And shut up. Share with me what your thought process is. So, Bob, when you think about something, what does that look like? You know, do you take my quote and fold it up and put it underneath your pillow? Because I've had people say, well, let me sleep on it. And I'd say, okay, are you going to take my quote and fold it up and put it underneath your pillow? Now, I'm not saying to be a smartass, and I'm certainly not suggesting you do it this way. But I always want to trade to what we call the absurd. When you trade to the absurd, it really allows you to illustrate what that is. Because basically, how many times have you heard when somebody says, let me sleep on it or think about it, by percentage, was that actually a no in disguise? Now, normally when I ask that question in live rooms, I'll get 95% on average. So 95% of the times you heard the words, think about it, think it over, let me sleep on it, I had one lady, you know what? She goes, let me pray over it. You know what I said? Why do you think I'm here? Why do you think I'm here? Out of the 10 million people that I could have called, I called you. You think that was by accident? You think there was a divine hand that as I was looking through these thousands of people to call, I called you. You got the answer to your prayer. He's in front of you right now. Now, I'm not saying say that, and I'm not making light of people's religion. But what I'm saying is that in the world of wishy-washy words, so many times what you hear doesn't really demonstrate what they mean. So if the last 95% of the time you've heard the words think it over, sleep on it, or, if those are really no's in disguise, why do you take it for anything other than it is? Yes is acceptable, no is acceptable. That's it. Yes is acceptable, no is acceptable. There's nothing else that's acceptable.